show is Victor O, my brother Mel, I'm Omega, and this is Diverse Clarity. This is where we have those thought-provoking conversations about things that matter and some that don't. And got to start off just by saying welcome back.
What up, dog?
You know what I'm saying?
Welcome back. It's been a minute.
I'm saying you ran away from us, went over to the States to take care of business.
He's a runner. He's a track star.
But you made it back. I was glad to see the message, man.
Yeah.
Phone popped on my phone. You was like, guess who's back? I'm like, oh, snap, Fat Joe. No,
Right,
wait.
no,
Rakim?
No. Jeezy.
So those of y'all that have been watching, supporters of the show, season 2, Brother Mel was definitely a part of the esteemed cast that we had here. And every episode that we did, I think was the episode might have been an hour, say an hour 15, hour 20 minutes, but we probably were in studio about 5 hours each time.
Facts.
Having conversations.
Facts.
So we definitely spent a lot of time having great conversations.
Nah, we should have recorded so we could have bloopers or something afterward.
But who's gonna go through and scrub all of that?
Not me. My hands are folded.
And then, of course, across the way, my brother Vic. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for coming back again. So I think we were having conversations about what the future looks like. Should we talk about that on camera? Or we want to?
No.
I mean about the podcast and stuff. Like,
yeah.
That part?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
You wanna?
I mean, I'm gonna be part of the whole thing long term, part of the family long term.
That's
what's
what's up.
way.
Yes, sir.
Sound effects.
This guy. Another one.
We the best.
So the team is growing. We're getting to the status of what we wanted to do as far as like having the team be diverse, right? Fitting in with the diverse clarity thing. This guy. So having it come in to fit this way, and what the ultimate goal is to be able to have various people that are a part of the team. So you might not see the same faces every episode, right? But we're still going to have these impactful conversations, and hopefully we reach out to you and pass on things that, you might have been wondering about, or we have conversations about that, people that you may want to talk to or not, right? So it's all about enlightening and opening up and, keeping that communication and passing information, right?
Yeah.
Amongst us. So
For sure.
it's gonna look good. It's gonna look different. The future looks bright.
Yeah.
So with that being said, let's get into this episode. So last season, it ended abruptly because we had a lot going on. We'll give it more information about that. But I was out of the country. You were out of the country. And then my stay got extended out of the country, and it was just a lot of things. And then you had to go back once I came back.
And it was extended.
It was crazy, right? So we weren't able to do what we wanted to do. More on that later. But as we are here now, one of the episodes that we wanted to do was we wanted to talk about the difficulties of being a man, right? And I know it was something where when we had these long conversations that we talk about, these side conversations, it's something that you definitely expressed some opinions and frustration and things like this. And you was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's do this show. I'm ready. And we just never got to do it.
True.
And then it's funny because meeting Vic, he expressed some ideas about the same topic.
Okay.
And I'm like, yo, this would be great, man, if we had Mel back. And then literally 2 days later, you hit me up and was like, I'm back in country. I'm Rakim. Guess who's back? So
I felt like that. Remember old school Yahoo?
Yahoo.
You got mail.
That's the ICQ, I think.
Right.
That's my wife's messenger whenever she messaged me.
Really?
I think I saved it on the board. Hold on. The ICQ, remember when he used to go, oh.
Yeah.
Hang on. That's it, right? That's
that
a joint.
it.
So whenever she sent me a text message, that's what happened. That's what I hear. So yeah. But so talking about it, difficulty of being a man, right? So there's a lot of things going on in the world these days, right? When we're talking about sexuality and toxic masculinity, which we've done episodes of, at least the toxic masculinity, we've done an episode about. But specifically today, I guess the way that we want to go into this, or the way that we want to discuss it, is the difficulty of being a man with the changes that are there, what's expected of you as a man, how we have to refer to one another or not allowed to refer to one another, consequences that are associated with such things. Not even about it being toxic masculinity, but the threat against masculinity itself, right? So being a man unapologetically, and then how that may be perceived in society in a negative way.
Yeah.
So this kind of thing. So giving it to y'all, where do we want to start?
I don't know. I guess we can just start about like the threat.
The threat. Boom.
Against them.
So the threat. So being a man,
Yeah.
right? I mean, we old school. I mean, you old. I'm old school.
You older. Let's get that clear.
Semantics. I'm not finna play these games with you. I'm not finna play these games with you.
I don't know.
You just got back 17 minutes ago. I'm not finna play these games with you, man.
You over here shooting shots. I think we was gonna trade.
This dude.
Go ahead.
So, all right. So you old, I'm old school. And Vic, wait, how old are you, Vic? I forget.
29.
Oh shit!
Why you laugh like that?
Hey, he say 29. That's what's up, man. Give me some. That boy young right there. That boy young. That boy still fresh.
Young blood.
That boy
Dang.
still fresh.
Wow. That really?
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Sure. 2'9". That's it. That's it. He said.
That's what's up.
1'7".
What's up? Like, I'm making sure I'm putting them together.
That's it.
Like,
So,
2'9".
but let y'all listeners to let y'all in on, and those watching on YouTube, let y'all in on the inside joke. So all we're talking about is Vic's lady was talking about how long she's been in the UAE, which was 17 years. Man, Mr. Disbelief Settles over here was like 17. 1'7".
I'm making sure I'm here to say the right number. You know what I'm saying?
So yeah, but yeah.
Okay,
So all right.
That's what's up.
So the what do we say? The difficulty,
Yeah, the threat against
the threat against it. Sorry, the threat against it. So
masculinity.
I'll say this from my view, right? I feel like being old school, being old, being older, growing up in the 1900s.
Don't point at me at older, buddy. Come on, being older. Come on, here we go.
But nah, for real, like it wasn't. I'm talking about
Go ahead.
us,
Yeah,
right?
Talk about being
But
ancient.
I mean, I'm like I say, I'm from the 1900s, and it was different. It was different then. What you doing? You doing public math? What's this? What's this?
Just 19.
What's this? So you stupid. So the way that I grew up was I was taught. So I thought how to be a man. I thought I was taught how I should carry myself. I thought I was taught and showed how I should be, chivalry, these things. And when we talk about the threat, okay, now that you say chivalry, we'll hit that one first, right? Because I think I've even mentioned that before. Whereas some people, when they talk about being chivalrous or performing chivalrous acts, opening doors and whatever, pulling out chairs and things like this, people are attacking that sometimes, saying like, well, you don't need to do that for me, right?
I got attacked before by that.
Go ahead. I didn't hear this one. I know I told y'all about.
I opened a door for a lady, and she was like, I can open my own door. I was like, I know you can, but I was here first. I figured I'll be a gentleman and let you in next.
Was this here?
Yeah, it was here. It was shocked. I was shocked. And it was an older lady. It wasn't like a younger lady. It was like older. Like, wow.
From where we from?
I'm not sure where she had an accent. I can't remember where she was from. But it was just shocking to hear an older lady say, like, I could open up my own door. And so, just like what happened to us just allowing a man to be a man, be a gentleman, be a and just showing chivalry, appreciation for a female. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't necessarily mean I look at you or we look at you as a less species or whatever. We're just doing what we are, we are raised and born to protect, to ensure safety, and just making sure everything you're okay. Like, and so if I treat women as though I would want someone to treat my daughter or my mother or my wife, you know what I'm saying? Like if they see them out, I would want a guy to be like, hey, like go ahead, go
Let
first.
me help you with that.
Let me help you
Something
with
like
that.
Let
you
me
know?
get the door. Yeah.
And
that
so I was taught that. I was taught that from, you know,
the 1900s.
yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
In the,
Exactly.
in the 90s, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna fool with this guy. Come on here, come on here, Sherlock. And so Frank right here just keep going.
Wow, this dude.
So yeah, just just kind of being like you. I think these definitions and how this tack on what a man should be, I wonder where it come from. Like where did the origin of this attack came from? Like
What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with most of the things that he said because.
But I mean, where you think it came from?
Where I think it came from, I'm not really sure. But I feel like social media had a role to play in that. Because a lot of the evolutions we're seeing at this moment in time has actually kickstarted from exposure to social media.
Yeah.
And that's my own opinion. So take, for instance, apps like TikTok is where people get to see certain behaviors and also mimic those behaviors and for some reason make it part of their like everyday life.
Right.
And they don't even realize this thing. So I feel like a lot of where we are right now, social media has a massive role to play in it.
Yeah. I don't know. You also you think about like, I don't know. I was always raised like everybody have a mouth. They use it the way they want to. You know what I'm saying? They can say whatever they want. But at the same time, I feel like opinions, feelings, emotions doesn't necessarily negate responsibility or duty. You know what I'm saying? And so you have to think about, like, I think we're losing sight of the origin of each human. You know what I'm saying? Like, what was the origin of a man? Like, what was he created to do? And what was a woman created to do?
Yeah.
And we losing sight of that, because we have all these opinions and feelings and emotions that it is driving and making it seem like that's supposed to be reality. Like, reality is reality. You know what I'm saying? And even though you saying like, oh, I feel like I identify, yes, we understand that. You can identify. However, reality is you are.
Okay, well, because I feel this way that you feel.
Yeah.
But let me
devil's advocate.
Yeah, I ain't playing on the devil's side of nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Not an angel's advocate. Yeah, so it gotta be somebody.
Let me play dude down the street advocate. So
go ahead, Woodrow.
The pushback that somebody might say to what you just said would be they're not going from what we are, right?
Right.
They're coming in and saying it's being redefined or understood, reimagined.
Right.
Things are being unlearned, and we're coming into what the new knowledge is, right? Something along those lines,
knowledge.
right? So new knowledge, right?
I like them old folks in church. Give me that old time religion. Go ahead, doctor.
So somebody may say, okay, well, Mel, you're saying that we are going in and changing and we're forgetting what a woman is supposed to do, the origins of a woman, the origins of a man. But they may also say, but we're just realizing that, no, this is the new. This is what the new is. And with that, right? What if somebody said the same thing about slavery? Because that's what has happened, right? Over time, or at one point in time, it was normal. Okay. It was expected. Slaves were property. Right. It was a international trade of human beings, and you weren't going to jail for that.
Right.
There was nothing wrong with that particular act. But
that's what you're saying.
But that's what they said. That's what they said. I'm still playing dude down the street advocate, right?
Right.
So
Woodrow.
Right, I'm Woodrow. So that's what they said. Right. But then things were unlearned. Right. And new knowledge came in.
Okay.
Little ass kicking came in. We call it the Civil War. Right. So things changed.
I think when you talk about, like, you definitely can when you talk about like Civil War and talk about slavery, I think that's a touchy subject. And when you think about what we were identified as, you know what I'm saying? Not I identify.
But no, I'm just talking about the ideas change. No, just period. Ideas changing.
Right.
Forget any example.
Yeah.
Just the bottom line of this is how it used to be.
Right.
And this is what everybody thought was normal.
I mean, what we thought was normal as far as, women, that's changed. You know what I'm saying? You got the BBLs going, the eyelashes when they had looking like Muppets. You got weave, you got injections in your face. And you know what I'm saying? And then you like, I want a real man. How?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you think about like society is in this, I hate to say it, like
I think we're trying to appease everybody.
Certificate. Yeah,
I think we're trying to appease everybody. That's what we're trying to do.
Everybody don't get a participation certificate. You know what I'm saying? Like it gotta be, it gotta be balanced. I think there has to be some type of balance there. And I feel like, granted, like I'm not old school enough or older than
between the both of you
to not understand that how people feel and how people identify and how they want to be referred to is okay for that person, However, I am still old enough to say, hey, if that's how you want to be referred to, no problem. But that doesn't mean I have to change what I see or what reality is. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's the part that I have a huge trouble with. If you come to me and say, hey, my name, I want to be referred as them or they, I have no problem with that. But if you're going to say, we have to change everything just to accommodate just to suit that, I'm like, okay, that you undoing nature. To me, I feel like that's undoing nature.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? And so, and I get, I always think about like, what are the kids coming in and seeing this, and how does that affect society long run, and then like the things that people are doing to their bodies, how does that affect long run? You know what I'm saying? And so I don't know. It's just a lot that goes into just the whole identification and demanding this is what we should do.
I think to add to that, there is the way I look at it right now, there's education and there's science.
Yeah.
Education is, take for instance the slavery point that he made.
Right.
People evolved to actually realize that maybe this is the wrong way to go about things. So
we're no longer property animals. We're actually people.
So that's how they grew out of that. But the difference between that then and what's going on is the science part of it.
Yeah.
Because now I could put hormones into my body to identify as something that I'm not.
Right.
So science is actually tweaked.
Modifying.
This education factor. And again, the reason why I said social media has a role to play is I'm to a degree active on social media and I see what's happening around me, and I could categorically state that in certain continents like Africa, for instance, old school remains old school.
Yeah, absolutely.
Those people haven't been conformed by this whole new science plus education, whatever's going on right now. Yeah, so that's why I feel like social media has a big role to play. I mean, this whole topic, it's a big thing in the Western world. And I don't feel like it would be a thing in certain continents.
Yeah, it's almost at the point, like we were saying earlier, when is enough is enough? You know what I'm saying? Like, when is enough is enough? Like, everybody don't get the trophy. You know what I'm saying? Like, we shouldn't appease everything. Like, some things just have to be, I'm sorry, we just not gonna do this. Like, we have came from a society where no is taboo. Like, we just okay, we can do that. Okay, we can do this. Like, when we're not rejecting anything, we're not saying no to anything. We're just accepting everything. Yeah. And when you accept everything, you don't stand for nothing.
There's no line.
There's no line. There needs to be it needs to be a line.
There is a line though.
Where's the line?
The line
in the
is
sand?
The line is when it comes to one that I recognize and what we were talking about in the beginning is when it comes to us as men, right? The line is there because I am unapologetically a heterosexual man.
Right.
Right. And if I were to walk around and express
That's
that,
the chair.
if I were to walk around and express that, right?
You'll be toxic.
It's exactly. I'll tell you some. It was I think me and Di were having this conversation. I forget how it went, but we're talking about like some gay men that she knew, and I forget what I said. Something like I was like, well, it was something about being allergic. Oh. It was, yeah, I can't say that, but there was a joke. Okay. There was a joke, and I was like, "Oh no, what if he allergic to the kitty, right?" And she was like, "Nobody's allergic to the kitty," and she was like, "Wait a minute, nah, there's some gay guys that I know they're allergic to it." And I was like, "What you mean?" And she was like, "Well, they'll be like, ew, pussy, ew, ew, like this."
Right.
And I was like, "Yo, that's crazy." And she's like, "What?" And I was like, "That might tie into what we're going to talk about this weekend." And she's like, "What you mean?" I said, "Because a gay guy, right?"
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but a gay guy could say like, just that, like, ew, vagina, ew, that's so nasty, that's so nasty. Right. But let me be a heterosexual man, and I'll be like, ew, sucking dick, ew, that's nasty, that's nasty. Now I'm a homophobe.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
It's a double standard.
Right. So there is a line that has been drawn. And the line that's been drawn has been where it places people of a certain sexuality or a certain mindset on one side, and that side that they're placed on is the side that does not progress. Yeah. And if you try to progress beyond that with your thoughts, they are considered toxic. They are considered phobic. They are considered not the norm. You can't even have a certain opinion that goes against all this openness that y'all are talking about and still be considered thoughtful, still be considered a person that's approachable or a person that is to be dealt with in society. Go ahead. Yeah.
To add to that, I mean, this topic is a delicate topic. And
definitely
there's one name I want to put forward, Andrew Tate.
Oh, boy. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a whole another war that's going on out there. But
isn't he in jail?
He's out now from what I saw recently. Okay. But what I'm saying in this regard is this man has his opinions. And I'm not saying that I agree with all his opinions, but it's like a broken clock is right twice a day. Yeah. Right? So he has some valid opinions.
But Andrew Tate doesn't identify as a clock.
Yeah.
That dude is awesome other stuff.
He identifies as a human being, and I get it. But the point I'm trying to make is there's certain things that I observed with the injustice where he was arrested, and every 30 days they renewed the 30 days and they were holding him for no reason. Right. I was observing the reaction of the public, and people were actually saying, yeah, lock him up. But you're locking a man up for his opinion, and he's allowed to have opinions, right or wrong. Yeah. Guess what? The way he was treated, in my opinion, still wasn't right, regardless of your opinions on this guy.
Wait. Sorry. He didn't get locked up for his opinions, from my understanding.
No. Yes.
He got locked up because That's not opinion based. That's breaking the law based.
But guess what, though? From my opinion, he was put in that position because of who he is. So he was basically guilty until proven innocent. But that proven innocent was taken an abnormal length of time, because every 30 days they kept him an extra 30 days to try and look for something.
Hang on, I want to break down what you just said. Yeah. You said he was put into that position because of who he is. Yeah. I would have to push back on that and say he was put in that position because of the acts that he carried out. I don't know the whole story, but I definitely did catch some stuff right at the beginning when he first got, because I know they seized a lot of his they seized his stuff
as well,
right? So all the cars that he had, stuff like this. I think he had like a Ukrainian assistant, Ukrainian. Oh my God, I can't even talk. A Ukrainian assistant was like one of his helpers, and like I think she was taken in question or something like. So there was a lot going on based off of, now that part that you're saying. I'm not. That may be true and unfair. Yeah. But there was a reason behind it, I imagine, because they seized so much stuff. They took property, assets, whatever, frozen accounts, this and this, locked him up.
Yeah.
I don't know the laws where he was.
Right.
And if the law there allows them to reestablish this 30-day countdown, then that's their law. Like the laws are different in this country than our country. So like I wasn't looking at it from the eyes of being an American watching a half British, half American person in a whole other country that he's not from either one, nor am I, right? Right. So but Europe is not a country though.
Right.
Every country within Europe has their own rules, to be fair, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, the UAE is Asia. They're Asians, but they operate a whole different way than the rest of Asia that we know it and see it, right? So, what I'm saying is he performed, or it looked like he performed illegal acts, and I believe that's what they were holding him for, not for his opinions.
Right.
So,
but I think what he's trying to say is that people were gung-ho about him being locked up and constantly being locked up because of his opinion.
But the people were not holding him. With respect to the discussion,
yeah, I know.
The people were not holding him.
Right.
The people had input on social media and other outlets.
Right.
It was the government that was holding him.
Yeah.
Now, I do agree that because of what he was taken in for and because of his reputation, it probably didn't help.
Right.
But if somebody came in and said, Mel is a professional boxer, and then we've got record that Mel has been holding a fight club illegally inside of his estate, and 17 people 17 people was murdered out of 50 people that fought there over a 1 year time span. People might be like, well, you know, Mel is a fighter. You know, Mel loved to fight. He probably did it. He probably did. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Versus Mel being short of becoming the Pope. And they're like, the Pope was arrested for having a fight club inside his, and they're like, really? Mel? Come on. He's about to be a Pope. We just waiting on one guy to die.
I see what you're trying to say. But on the flip side as well, like, do whatever you please to pass on to implement your laws and whatever. But in Romania, where I think he was held, is part of the EU. So the EU laws state that, even in the UK, even though the UK is not currently part of the EU, but you're innocent until proven guilty. Right. The way he was treated the other way around, which I think is more American than European.
Wow.
And I mean, this is
shots fired. No, it's true.
I had this whole debate with my friends, and it's like we had to look it up. The laws of the EU states that you're innocent until proven guilty. It took them months.
Okay, what government do you know that acts accordingly?
Oh, the UK government definitely does, because a policeman can't arrest me. He can search me, but he can't arrest me with no grounds. So that's why before you even come into someone's home to knock on the door or even go into the front part of their house, you have to have a warrant as a policeman in the UK. You can't go into someone's private space without a warrant.
So, I mean, that's technically how it's supposed to work. Yeah. That's how it's supposed to be. Yeah. But why? You said they let him go.
They just let him go.
Recently.
They let him go. Why did they let him go?
They probably found nothing to pin onto him. Because
we don't know yet.
Yeah, I don't know that. But what I'm saying is the way he was treated from the very get-go, it's like they had all the evidence.
Right.
Okay. Well, clearly not.
Okay, but I mean, okay, so the discussion is what related to Andrew Tate then? Like his unfair treatment by the police, or it's about his thinking? And
I think it's the masculinity he's talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because like I said to you, I don't agree with all the things he says, but sometimes he has good opinions, and still, regardless of what message he's trying to pass, he's painted as this person.
Toxic.
And I agree with that.
People don't want to hear
100%.
Regardless of what he says. Even if he says, my name is Andrew Tate, people don't want to take that because he's Andrew Tate.
It's his delivery and who, I agree with that.
I wonder if, and so, you know how when we talked about the absence of like fathers and how it grew, I wonder if that came, this is a result of the absentee of fathers. When I say absentees, I'm talking about the attack on and calling something toxic masculinity, because I have never seen what a true man would be like or see or act like. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I wonder if if this was like the fallback or how the fallout of that, because when you think about the number of kids that was raised in single parent homes that were where no man was present, you know, some of us, if we were in sports, we received the man. If we had uncles or something, we had one. But how much of society didn't have it, you know? And then like, where did this? I think when we start looking at the corporate, you have to look back at the origin, almost like a disease. Like, where is the origin in order to actually fix? I'm not saying this is a disease. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is like looking at the origin, like where did it come from? Where did it stem from? And then and then trying to for our understanding in order to rebuild. Because I think everyone is searching for what is masculinity and what is healthy masculinity, and no one has. You see men attacking men on social media or YouTube or whatever, and you see women attacking men, but at the same time you see men attacking women and women attacking women, and so it's like everybody is on this. I have an opinion. Your opinion doesn't matter. My opinion matters more. And we lost the basic basic origin of humanity. We can agree to disagree, and you can have your opinion. I don't have to agree with your opinion, but you are valid to have your opinion, and we can move on. You know, like what I was saying earlier. If you want to be identified as that, no problem. But I should be just like you have the right to be able to be identified. You obligated to be identified as whatever you want, as in our Western world. But also in our Western world, I have my opinion where if I choose not to, I should be able to, you know? And it should be okay. It shouldn't be deemed as I'm being toxic or I'm homophobic or whatever, you know? And, you know, you can still accept people without, like, within your boundaries. Like, I can accept you. I don't just have to do everything you say. Yeah. And I think when you start looking at, you know, like how we try to fix things through, like, what is healthy and what is unhealthy love, you know what I'm saying? So when you think of like healthy love, it's being able to set boundaries and maintain those boundaries, you know? And so unhealthy love is like, I constantly appease you. Yeah. And so you never know where I stand. And I think we losing that sense of humanity, trying to appease each and every person opinion or how they feel or how their emotions make them feel at the present moment. Yeah. It's almost like we're just passing out participation and certificates. You get a certificate.
But go ahead.
I wanted to mention another name, and I've mentioned one already, but Sam Smith, for instance. My whole life, I've been taught to say fisherman.
The singer, right?
Yeah. Singer, okay. Regardless of the sex, it's a fisherman, regardless if it's a man or a woman. Uh-huh. But recently he was making a statement on live TV, and he's like, he basically called himself a fisherman, and then he actually tweaked that after to say fisher them, because he identifies as a them. And I mean, if you put that into context, I've gone my whole life using the word fisherman, and just because you identify as them, I'm having to change what I've known my whole life to accommodate how you feel. I feel like that, to a degree, is also a part that it's not been reviewed by the people that want to identify as something that, well, I don't want to use the word normal, but fisherman is a word, like I've said, that I've known my whole life. But trying to get me to say fisher them to accommodate one person is going to be a hard task.
But that's the line that I'm talking about, right? And it's like the learning of the old school, the learning of the way that we know the world to work, the way that we know language to work is being changed. Yeah. And those that are, I'm not going to say stuck, but still used to, have not conformed to, uneducated about what they're trying to change it to, you're looked at as you're a problem. You're looked at as a phobic. You're looked at as, you know, you're someone not supporting others, right? Being difficult in society, in the movement. And I just feel that part, what you're talking about, I feel that that's what's not fair, because the same way, look, for the record, Look, I support however they want to do what they want to do.
Likewise.
Love who you love. Be who you want to be.
Yes,
Change what
100%.
If you wake up tomorrow and you want to identify as a fucking giraffe, knock yourself out. Reach for the trees, grab them leaves, and enjoy your time.
Yeah.
Right. Do your thing. But
That's right.
I also feel that my opinions and my understanding of life should also be respected.
Right.
If I feel like, I'm not saying that we should go up and blatantly just disrespect somebody.
Yeah,
if somebody says that they identify as they or them or whatever,
Right.
I'm supposed to be like, nah, you were this. Like, no. What I'm saying is, if I'm unknowing of this, right, I shouldn't be put in some kind of box or category, right? Because I've seen this happen on social media. Somebody comes in and they just, hey, what's up? Hey, ladies, how y'all doing? Look at him calling them ladies. He doesn't even know what they identify as. How would he?
Right.
He's going by what he sees.
Right.
And the part that kills me, right,
Yeah.
is people will say, well, how do you know what he sees? Just because they look the way that they look. Let me tell you something, dummy. When someone changes their sex, they don't change from a man to another man and identify as a woman. They change from a man to something that looks like a woman.
Right.
So this is what we're talking about when they say, oh, that's what he thought he saw.
Right.
If he walks into a room and says, good afternoon, ladies, and then somebody is like, who is he talking to? He doesn't, that's so rude of him.
Yeah.
He doesn't know how they identify.
Right.
You're right. He doesn't. He's going by what he sees. The same thing that if you as a guy were to transition to a woman, you'd look like one of them.
Right.
So this is what I'm talking about, where it's like it's getting so down into the weeds where it's just annoying.
Yeah, because when you think about, for so long, it was just man and woman. And so all we know is either you're a man or you're a woman. You know what I'm saying? And so now when you come and you saying you look like a woman or you look like a man, but you're originally not, and you say I identify as a them, like how, like you're saying, like how would we know? You know what I'm saying? Like it's like if you see a dog, you're not gonna say, that's a duck. You know what I'm saying? Like because that's not, because you only know what you know. You know what I'm saying? You see what you see. And so
That's an ugly dog.
right. And so I think it's there's no patience, there's no leniency to no compassion, no to allowing people the common courtesy to actually make a mistake. You know, like you should be able to correct them and say, hey, no, I identify as them. Now, if they become an a-hole and be like, no, you are this, then of course, yes, that's there. I feel like that's not progressive. You know what I'm saying?
So what part of this are we pushing back on, just for clarity?
Yeah.
Are we saying?
What I'm saying is identify as who you want.
Okay.
If someone make a mistake, you should correct them if that's how you want to be identified. Now, how the person respond, that should determine if they're not progressive. You know what I'm saying? So if somebody's like, no, I ain't doing that, then they don't want, you know what I'm saying? I feel like that's not progressive. I think that becomes disrespect.
And everybody needs to be progressive.
I think for our society, that's what they're saying. I feel like I think that's the happy medium. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I'm asking.
Like I'm thinking like that's a happy medium. Like that's a progress. Like if you say no, I identify as a them. This is for the not true. And that's and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, them. You know what I'm saying? Like then I correct myself. Just like if somebody say, just like if you say my name is not Omega. My name is O. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I'm sorry, O. You know what I'm saying? So then I'm respecting you. You know what I'm saying? In that sense. And I think where the problem is you're demanding that somebody automatically knows beforehand. That's wrong.
I don't know if anybody has done that. I of course I don't know about.
I mean,
all
if
the
you
cases.
think about the lady that got fired.
But I think she refused. I think she refused to say. I think she refused to come back to say or recognize them as.
No, she came back. They told her she needed to apologize. She came back, apologized. She still her contract for the next year was rejected. She was at an all-girls school, and she walked into a classroom and said, "Good morning, girls."
Right.
And they felt they didn't identify as girls at an all-girls school. So it should be changed to girls in them.
Girls. You're ignorant.
but am I not lying?
That's facts.
Because if it's an all-girls school, what is the qualification for going to an all-girls school?
You have to be a girl. That's
Right.
wild.
You know what I'm saying? And so
agree. Now
how
that-
would she
yes.
not? How she
Yes.
would not? How would she know that you do not identify as a girl at an all-girl school?
And that's the part that I was going to say is a problem.
That's the problem.
I think the problem is we are, in order to accommodate for the new realizations that are being accepted by society, we're also forgetting what we already know.
Right.
It doesn't change anything. We've now added to it.
Right.
There are such thing as cis men, cis women, but there's also trans men, trans women, and then all the different ways that they identify within LGBTQIA plus community, right? So, I feel that the problem is, and not that it's a problem, but it's a problem, going away from normal speech and almost making people feel inferior or even afraid to speak because they're unsure of how to speak. But we're uneducated. This is something that seems to be evolving. It is the chat GPT of sexuality. Like, it is constantly evolving, right? And we don't know all the ins and outs. All we know is this has the capability of growing into something where it's going to take us time to understand. It's going to take a lot of sensitivity. It's going to take a lot of empathy. It's going to take a lot of understanding. It's just going to take a lot.
Just don't use pronouns no more. Just use names. What's your name? What's your name?
Yeah, that's a tough one.
You know, I think that's the easiest way. Like,
It is easy, but it's
then we
not
change.
sustainable.
Then we have to change the way that we speak.
Yeah.
Imagine
Nah.
the way that we speak, the way that we write.
Yeah.
We can't always say, like, because then writing looks poor. As a creative writer, I can't always say Omega went to the store, and then later Omega and his family went to, like, I can't. You have to throw in some he's.
so you gotta put some nicknames in there. Omega went to the store. Oh, Love going to the store.
Or imagine you find yourself in a situation where they were asking you to explain who you were with, and you're like, I was with them. The average human being would look at you like,
more
is
than
this
one
guy crazy? Like,
that's more than one.
You're trying to,
or
yes,
they is more than one.
It's actually tough,
The
man.
Abbott and Costello. Who's on first? You know what I'm talking about? You don't know Abbott and Costello?
No.
Who's on first? What's on second? And I don't know what's on third.
Oh, yeah,
the baseball,
yeah,
the
yeah,
baseball
yeah,
joint.
yeah.
And he's like, yeah. So who's on first? He was like, yeah, that's what I'm asking you. No, who's on first? That's what I'm telling you. Who's on first? It's like, no, what's his name? Who's on first? Who? It is. You get what I'm saying?
His
so
name
it's
is
like
who?
this whole,
crazy,
yeah.
man.
So that whole, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And also, like, there was one thing I watched a few weeks ago, funny enough, is this whole, the same topic we're currently having. And there was this person that has gone through the procedure. This person happens to be an activist of the whole topic we're having right now. And they asked this person, how many sexes do we have?
Oh, I think I saw this.
Piers Morgan. And the person said 2 sexes, male and female.
Right.
Oh no, I saw one on the street. They were talking about this. But
Now, this was actually on live TV. This had millions of views as well. And this person said 2 sexes. And then he was like, well, you're not being fair to the other people that identify as, I mean, we're hearing that there's over 100 sexes
99
now.
or something like
How?
that. Yeah, that's what they're saying.
How?
So where do we even draw
Creativity.
the line? And guess what, though? The beauty of the whole thing is, regardless of what you identify as, when you are no more, you identify as 2 sexes, because when they look at your skeletal build up, you're either a man or a woman, and they can tell from the size of your bones and where the muscles are located.
Pelvic.
Men have bigger bones in those places where muscles are located, and also the pelvic area as well. Women is designed for childbearing.
Origin.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
But this is we discussed this though, like in a previous episode, and that's what
What?
I was I was telling him. I said my thought behind this is it goes one of two ways, right? There is male and female, right, and there's woman and there's man. Anybody can become a woman or a man.
Yeah.
Anybody can become a woman or a man, but a male or female, this is about reproductive organs and capabilities.
But when you think about men and then you say woman, that's a man with a womb.
No, but being specific, it's a female if she can reproduce. It's a male if he provides a seed to be able to fertilize the reproduction.
When did we get to this level of precision?
Yes.
Because you know why? Because people made it synonymous when they spoke about it.
But
That's what made me think about it.
Yeah,
because
but I don't agree with that though. You know, like when you think of
okay, wait. Then what's the question? Then? What's a woman? What's a woman?
A man with a womb. Womb man.
Well, that's not how you spell womb, but
the woman. But how you spell womb?
That's whoa. That's Black Rob. Like whoa.
Well, what I'm saying.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. W-O. You know what I'm saying? Like woman. Like it's a womb.
It sounds like a Marvel character, bro.
You know what I'm saying?
Whoa,
you
man.
understand what I'm saying?
Whoa, man. Whoa, man. Whoa.
Whoa.
But no, for real.
But that's what I'm saying. Like when I think of a woman, I think of a female who has a womb. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, where did the word? So woman came from an origin of a word. You know what I'm saying? Like when you start looking at the etymology of a word and you look at the origin, it come from something. You know what I'm saying? And so, it came from a female, right? So one of the words came first.
It's so hard to.
But when you look at the
hot topic,
when you look at when you think of in the Bible, it's man and woman.
Yeah,
it's not female and male.
But see, here's the thing, though. Like when we're talking about
where did that word come from?
But when we're talking about male, female, woman, man, I think an issue can arise when you talk about religion or the Bible. Because not everybody follows that.
Yeah. I understand that.
You know what I'm saying? So like there has to be one, you have to decide, you have to know your audience, or you have to decide who you're talking to, because there are some people where the moment that you mention bot it, and you don't even get the ubo out, right? They're like, nah, I'm not trying to hear that.
What I'm saying is like the words already exist, right? And so why not create a new one? Why not create a new one?
And for me as well, like being the way I am, and I'm very open to new information and learning.
Okay, look, I just typed this in, right?
Right.
And on purpose, I never wanted to really like look that up, the science part. But it says the main difference between women and females is that woman, in quotes, is a singular noun, while females is the plural form of the noun. Additionally, not all women are biologically female, and conflating females to woman erases gender,
Wikipedia?
non-conforming people, and the members of the trans community.
That sounds very, very, very recent.
Yeah. What's that, Wikipedia?
If we were to go by maybe like, I don't want to say ancient, but older definitions of this, it wouldn't get to that.
I bet that older definitions refer to female and male reproductive organs.
Right.
That's it. A woman, like what? That's why I say, like, not this combination of the words. What is a woman?
Can I add to that?
Because I'm gonna tell you something. I could walk into a room full of women.
Right.
I can see titties, ass, hips, lashes, makeup, boom.
BBLs.
And wait. Nobody say anything, right? When I walk in and I'm like, yo, that's a room full of, I'm not gonna be like womb mans. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be like, yo, that's a room full of women in there. Did y'all see the room full of women? That's what I'm gonna say, because that's what I'm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So is it okay for them to be referred to as women?
Wait, hang on. So, but what I'm saying is, if I said that, everybody would understand what I'm saying. Right?
They would say if you say there's a room full of females, they're gonna understand that too.
Okay, let me make my point.
Right.
So if I see a room full of what I just described, and I came back and was like, yo, this room number 2 is full of women. You know exactly what that is. Now, if I came back and said, yo, room number 2 is full of females, what is the distinction? What is one thing that can distinguish a female from a woman?
Nothing. To me, it's the same word.
I want to try and scientifically link both.
Okay.
And you've got Google, so I'm going to ask you to look.
I don't use Google.
So chromosomes. So
I don't use Google.
Okay, cool. Whatever you use. So we get down to the biological and scientific definitions. The difference between the male and the man and the woman, and again, I want to link both words, male and man, is the chromosomes. So a woman has two. Well, human beings have chromosomes in pairs, and this is what distinguishes between the man and the woman. The woman has two X chromosomes, and the man has an X and a Y paired together. That's what distinguishes between a man and a woman, and assume that also distinguishes between a male and a female, and that can be confirmed. Can you confirm that?
Yes, that is confirmed. That is true.
So that's a biological way of linking man and male.
They're the same.
So those two has to be the same.
Man and
male, and woman and female.
That's what I'm saying. There's no distinct. I mean, when you think about it, if you go into women are considered women, or you be like, there's some females in there.
Yeah,
depending where you're from.
That's the same thing, to be honest.
No, what I'm talking about is
that's the problem.
What I'm talking about is trying to distinguish between the two.
But that's the problem. The problem is why we're distinguishing between.
Hang on.
That's recent.
But what I'm not even counting that. Like, cause I didn't see that before. Like, I'm just looking up that now, right? But you're a scientist, right?
Right.
You study. If you take any course,
I study.
If you take any course, right, related to anatomy, biology, I don't ever remember. Now, I could be wrong, but I don't ever remember reading in any of my books where it said the woman anatomy. It always said the female anatomy, the male anatomy. It referred to us as male and female. The male reproductive organs, the female reproductive organs. The female has ova, it can bear children, right? I've never ever heard in a scientific way where they're referring to a woman, the woman reproductive organ. It's always been female or male.
I agree with what you've said, but at the same time, now I'm actually thinking about it. It would have sounded a bit awkward as an English listener or speaker.
But if you go back to what you're saying, female is plural. So they're talking about more than one.
Female is plural.
Did you say female is the plural version of woman?
I went off.
No. Yeah, I think it was.
Look it up. The definition that you had at first is the difference between male and female.
Also,
woman and female.
When you look at it in that light as well, it's like you can't. It sounds very awkward for you to say the man or the men reproductive organ,
right,
and the woman or the woman reproductive organ. It makes, well, this is what we're used to, anyways. Men, the male and the female reproductive organs.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. That's not my area of expertise. But everything that I'm looking up is referring to, or everything that I'm seeing is referring to. I've not seen the word man or woman not one time.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm just talking about distinguishing between humans, right? Is what I'm looking for. And everything is talking about the ovum, right? And referring to the woman, and the type of sex cell, the gamete, how it fuses with the male. And then, like, everything is related to that, and specifically referring to female and male. We all know that they changed the dictionary, right? We all know that they go through and they make it fit society as it is. I remember being a kid in school, and my teacher used to and you probably know because you way older than me. The teacher would be like, ain't a word. And then I remember, like, a couple years later, ain't was in the dictionary, right? Ain't a word. It was like, wait, what?
It was in a dictionary when I was younger.
Shut up, man. Shut up. You acting like a real male right now.
Yeah, that's tough, man. He's trying to draw you out. Trying to draw you out, man.
But I don't know, man. Look, I
don't know. I mean, when you think about it, like, okay, so now, like, when you think about sports, that when someone identifies as a woman, should they be able to compete with women?
They were until recently.
Swimming.
They realized that wasn't working, because I remember this one guy that was a swimmer. He was men's 700 and something.
Yeah, he won.
And then he
it's like number
changed,
1, number 2 or something like that.
And then now they've actually had to draw that line. But guess what, though? That's on one thing. And I reckon over time, maybe there's going to be more realization to say, maybe we need to put more lines here. And like I said, in the UK, they've actually placed a ban on transgenders going to same-sex schools.
Yeah.
So if you change your sex from maybe a male to a female. You're not allowed on, like, you can't get admitted into female school.
Right.
That makes sense now, doesn't it?
It does.
Because that option still, long term, can still be exploited, and there's obviously pros and cons to that.
Well, did they change their parts if they went through the process? Should they be able to actually be accepted to the school? I think at that point, maybe. But if you're still, bad choice of words, but if you still walking around with a pole and you in a all girls school, that's a problem. You know what I'm saying?
Like, there was this guy as well that got put into women's prison because he identifies as a woman. He ended up getting like 12 women pregnant in the prison.
Yeah.
He was on a gung ho kind of. He was just letting it out left, right, and center.
Right. What happened?
So there has to be a line.
What happened? What happened if he in there gung hoing?
Hey man, I don't know, bro. Like,
take the gun out of it. What happened? He in there hoeing. You know what I'm saying? Like, what you doing? What you identify?
Hey, bro.
So that's why there has to be a line, because obviously if we're saying that everyone can identify as what they want to identify as, then
because they can unidentify too.
Yeah, you have to support that all the way through.
So let me ask. So wrap this up then. What does that mean for us as men? How does that? What was the question that we said in the beginning?
I think it's twofold.
The difficulties.
The difficulties. I think is I don't know, man. There's a lot of pushback, and there's a lot of people exaggerating, going to the extreme, saying like they identify as like, something crazy and saying if you able to do it, I should be able to do it. You know what I'm saying? And so I think I don't know, society is really, it's a fight. There's going to be there's a, like, I don't want to say a civil fight. I don't know if it's civil, but it's a fight against, just finding that happy medium between what is and what is not.
It's also a fight against nature, because naturally we're born to be certain things. And I'm sorry, for someone like me, it's going to take a lot of convincing for a human being with bones, 204 of them, to tell me I identify as a broccoli.
Yeah.
I can't communicate with broccolis, but if you're speaking my language, then surely we have something in common. I identify as a human being. So if you're trying to tell me otherwise, you're going to have to prove to me.
Right.
And I mean, I'm a scientist, so most of the things that I see and I feel like I know, I've had to actually work and research on to see that this is actually a fact.
Right. But if you identify, but if you think about like identification, like if someone came home, like if your significant other came home and identify as a vampire, you'll think something is mentally wrong with them, right? And so now I'm not saying like this is a mental something mental, but what I'm saying is there's a red flag and there's a question. But you know what I'm saying? And so you have to make a decision on, do I address her as Miss Dracula, or I'm gonna just, we gonna get some support. You know what I'm saying? And I think we at this place where like we know it may not be mental, but hey, if that's how you identify, that's fine. But force feeding us to change how we see things, forcing us to change the origin of science into fitting in this particular space, I think that is wrong.
I think it's going to be difficult to get everybody on the same page because there's a different core belief, and I think ultimately when you look at people on Earth, they're regardless of the nuances between the different areas, and you'll understand what I'm saying in a minute, but the nuances in between the different areas of, let's just say, non-believers, right? So we're talking religion. When you have the non-believers, okay, there's different categories, right? There's atheists, there's agnostic, and so on. So you have this category of non-believers, and then you have believers. Right. You only fall into one. Right. You either do or you don't. Right. And in the dues, you have different categories. Right. You have Islamic faith and Judaism and whatever, right? And then on the non, you have, right? But then you got different areas where you fall. Right. So bottom line, we can agree, right? Yeah. There's a line and there's believers and non-believers. Right. So I think this alone has us at a disadvantage as a society, as an Earth, because the people who are believers, they don't care what you say about science, because this is what they believe that God has made us and God is and God intended and it was written in this. And then there's this big difference between the non-believers, right, and all the different areas where they rest,
right,
where some do fall into the science or all do fall into the science. Well,
right,
we'll say some, but like this. So it's hard we don't even have a base for the understanding to be able to have the conversation. You see what I'm saying? So like, I just think that
when you saying like the base, like the origin of
we're not all
male and female.
No. I'm saying to even have the conversation, right? Because if you are a religious person, if you believe that a God created everything,
right,
and everything was written,
right,
like there's no Big Bang theory for you,
right?
It's God, right?
Right.
So that's it, and there's nothing else you can tell them.
But what I'm saying is, how is that tying into determining male and female?
What I'm saying is, there's a science side,
right,
and there's a religious side. If a person comes from a religious side, there's a certain understanding the way that they perceive the word of God.
Okay.
And that's what it is. And then on the scientific side, it's the logical, whereas, like he just said, you need to prove to me that you're a broccoli. How did this come about?
Right.
Because I have a scientific mind. I have a logical mind. That's what he's saying. So I don't want to hear about this Psalm, this and Genesis. I don't want to hear about that.
Right.
Prove to me that you're a broccoli.
Right.
Because you're speaking my language. What he said.
Right.
You're speaking my language. You walk like I walk.
Right.
Right. Maybe I'm cooler with my walk than you, but it's similar. Prove to me you're a broccoli.
But when you think I don't know. I hear what you're saying, but I feel like religion and science are saying the same thing about this topic, like male and female.
Are they? Okay, listen, but it's not though. You know why? Because there are many people who believe in God, as they say, and you can't dispute that. Nobody else can
100%.
because that's their God.
I'm not talking about the God part.
Hang on.
Yeah.
But you have many people. That's what I'm saying. There's a side of believers and all the ways of how they believe, and a side of non-believers.
Right.
There's plenty of people who have transitioned and feel that they are a woman or a female maybe, and they believe in God.
Right.
But that's their God. You can't change that.
Right.
Nor can you re-identify what their meaning is, because God is about your personal relationship with God.
Well,
it's not for everybody else to come in and dictate it for you. Right. So that's what I'm saying. So when I say we're never going to be on level grounds, is because out of the two options,
right,
you fall to one side, and then there's various categories within each side.
Right.
And we'll never, ever, ever be able to come over to a transsexual and say, I know you believe in God, but let me tell you about science. Because they're already in another place. And that alone is going to make them disagree with you.
Well, I don't know. I hear what you're saying. Most likely. I don't agree. I think there are special cases with that. But when I look at, I think like when you start looking into religion, you have the books, you know what I'm saying? And so the books tells you there's a male and a female, and so when I say religion is saying the same thing as science, I'm saying like in the book there's male and female. You don't see in male, between. Female, trans or LGBTQ IA+.
And to add to that as well is very, very subjective, because if you look at the dominant religions, I want to use those words, because a lot of countries either identify as maybe Islamic countries or Christian countries. Right. So if you look at those, if you put things into perspective, this whole new ideology is actually pushed into the Christianity aspect more than it is Islam. Islam doesn't tolerate certain things. It's in the book, and we're going by the book. So that's why even in England, they're trying to get churches to permit same-sex marriage, and you can't take that to a mosque. You can't tell them that in a mosque. No. So it's like, again, there is a bias in that regard. So that's exactly what I'm talking about, right? That's why I say you fall to one side, but on that one side you fall, there's different nuances to categories where you fall. And there's only certain things that are going to be and not be.
I get what you're saying, but I was just saying as far as distinguishing between two sex, like there's a male and there's a female. Yeah, I agree. Like what you're saying, like what's accepted or what's not accepted, or where people view it as religious or non-religious, or somebody say, I'm trans and I'm still a Christian. You can be. Like, that's not a problem.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because like you said, like
Oh,
your
no,
relationship with God is different.
I'm sorry. What I'm talking about is having the conversation. That's what
What
I'm referring to.
Conversation?
I'm saying,
I think I'm
like,
lost.
okay. if I'm trying to convince you that
We just talking about male and female. I want to talk about anything else.
right.
Okay.
If I'm trying to convince you of something, right? Anything, right? It doesn't matter, male, female, whatever it is. If I'm trying to convince you of something, but you are coming from a place where your belief goes against that from the jump, right? Your thinking, your thought process goes against that from the jump. I'm already at a disadvantage in trying to convince you because your mindset is something complete. It's like, here's an example. It's like trying to tell somebody don't do something wrong because you can go to hell. If he don't believe in heaven and hell, you have not scared him.
True.
He's like, what the fuck? What are you talking about? You're already on different conversational playing fields. You can't scare me about heaven and hell when I don't believe in either one of those.
I hear what you're saying.
So what I'm saying
I
is
think we're on two different playing fields. I think what you're saying is valid when you don't have a specific topic. You know what I'm saying? And so, but what I'm saying is like when we're talking about male, and we were saying science as far as like the origin of female and male, and we're saying religion, origin of female and male. I was saying they were on the same playing field with that because male and female, when you think of origin, you think about the Bible, the Quran, and so forth, and what's inside of the Bible, right, or inside the pages, and that's what they say is male and female. They don't say there's nothing in there referring to LGBTQIA as far as like trans or something like that within the Bible. There is parts in the Bible or parts in the Quran where it talks about specific cities or places where the things that happens in those communities were happening inside that, you know what I'm saying, in those cities. You know what I'm saying? And so, but as far as like people being labeled as male and female or identifying as male and female, I think when you're looking at as far as origin is religion see male man or woman or male and female, and science are saying is only male and female. There isn't anything in between. Yes, you can identify something.
There has to be something in between because there's a group of people that believe in 99 different ways to identify.
But what we're saying is you're either born two ways.
But that's
what I'm saying.
What I'm trying to tell you.
What I'm saying is the parts. Like I'm saying, like you can identify.
But what I'm telling you is I'm talking about the mindset of the people, right? Yes, this is what I believe. I believe you're born one of two ways.
Yeah.
But there are some people that don't believe, and there's even science that is coming now that is trying to say there's a possibility that you're not just two. There's a possibility that there's more. There was something I want to find it, but I saw something. Maybe you know, but I saw something. I think you're not gonna say that word.
Oh,
I think they changed. But there was something. There was something that I saw, and it was saying something about the chromosomes, and like after so many years or something like that, it's gonna come to a point where there's just one. It's gonna. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Did you? No.
Just one person, one thing.
But what I'm saying is, this is on the science side.
Okay.
Whether they are right or they are wrong, I don't know because I'm not a scientist, right?
I think it will come if you keep taking hormones and you start mixing.
I don't know, but my point that I was trying to make is even on the science side, I'm not talking about where it's alike with religion. No, that would be crazy for me to say that because they're alike. I get it, right?
Yeah, that's all I was saying.
Right. But what I'm trying to say is on the science side, there's other thoughts where there may be even more than just two.
More than just two.
Or it's going to more than two ways to identify. Scientifically. So these people,
I think it's more than one way to you can identify as whatever you want.
Based on the chromosomes is what they're saying.
That's just going to be, I reckon that's just probably going to be a new tweak to get people to maybe back off a bit in this regard. But
yeah,
but scientifically, I don't feel like they can invent.
How can you change?
Because whatever they're doing now is not, there's two words actually. I think there's invention and there is.
I got to find it.
There's another word.
I gotta find this.
Now, there's invention and they can't really invent. So take, for instance, certain things, like certain fundamentals, like maths, Pythagoras theorem, and whatever that is.
Yeah.
Is a very
Pythagorean.
He was like, I can't say it,
Pythagoras
but
theorem.
and I hope you know what it
basically-
is.
I do.
Pythagoras theorem, let me say that it's basically basic maths that is a foundation for maths going up, right? That can't be changed. That's an invention. And I can't remember the other word, is bugging me out, but the other word is basically taking that invention and improving on it. You could only improve on the foundation. The foundation is already there. So for you to try and tweak that foundation, for me, is basically to accommodate whatever atmosphere we're in right now. It's not going to be a strong one, because you can't tell me that Einstein and these guys from the previous years went through all these tests that they did, and now you basically are on that level as well, and you want to add to that.
Like, how did you find it? Like, where did it come? You had this goes back to the origin. Like, what was it? Like, you know what I'm saying? What were the two things that was combined? Or
we don't know. What if there was only one? Like, what if that? Like, hypothetically, what if there was only one, and then
what would that look like?
I don't know.
Like, how do you reproduce?
Maybe put a Z chromosome in there.
Asexual, is that what it is? Asexual, you do it by yourself? Is that what it is?
But you're not reproducing. How you reproduce? What you doing?
Asexual.
You an animal?
Yeah. It was long enough to put where I needed it to go.
You're not human.
Huh?
It's like cutting off a tail and growing it back.
I'm a mammal.
Humans can't reproduce by themselves. They need some sort of stimulation.
Now we can't. Maybe we could before. Maybe they was.
That's an invention.
Maybe they was in caves. Maybe they was in caves making.
I'm an OG. I'm OG human. I'm OG human. I'm the original human.
Hey,
I ain't that dude. That dude. What is you? Human 2.0.
But I do want to. I gotta
Human
find
X.
that video though, because again, I don't know, so I'm not speaking about it.
I'm sorry.
I'm not speaking about it in a way of like coming from a knowledge point. I'm just saying, like, I'm looking at what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Right? Not y'all. I'm looking at what I'm hearing. And this particular video, and it's crazy because I bookmarked this video and then I couldn't find the bookmark later. Imagine, right? So like, and this was we're talking like 7 months ago, 8 months ago, way back when we were talking about, right? But it was saying something along the lines of like,
I'm just trying to process this.
As time goes, it was some type of, I'm sure I'm messing this up, but it was scientific stuff. But it was like, we could just become one, like it would somehow merge. And it was, the guy was explaining like this process or whatever.
Like we were
I don't know. I think so. The only thing that I was trying to say was on the science side, there are some people in science that don't all agree with the way that science is said and known that we know, right? And that's what I was trying to say is like, it'll be hard to have the conversation depending on your audience. Because again, like I said, heaven and hell, if you don't believe in then I can't convince you outside of that, because we've already started on uneven playing fields. You're playing soccer, I'm playing American football, and it's not going to work out.
Like playing football with basketball rules.
This guy. Guy. Yo, he is Victor O, my brother Mel, I'm Omega, and this is Diverse Clarity. This is where we have those thought-provoking conversations about things that matter and some that don't. Welcome to the team. Welcome back, and we will see you next episode.